Hey, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours. Welcome. Yes, I think that I think that we are live here now. I see some comments and stuff like that. I just came on. I apologize. You can see here, I'm having problems with my camera. I've got my built-in camera on instead of my nicer camera. I'm hoping I'm going to get my nicer camera to life here in just a moment. But I'm sorry, I was trying to sort that out there. I hope everybody's doing well. Happy Friday. Today's office hour is a little bit earlier than normal because my daughter is returning from 6th grade camp, and they all come back. They've been gone for a week, and they come back on the bus this morning here, a little bit later this morning, and I want to be there when she arrives to welcome her back to reality after her camp. So I appreciate the flexibility. If anybody had this on their calendar originally for 11, thank you for the flexibility and letting me move it here to a little bit earlier time. Let's see here. Go Lily is reporting that my audio is cutting in and out. Is anybody else experiencing that, or is that potentially on their end? I think, yeah, maybe potentially on your end. Sorry about that. All right, let's go through it. If you have questions, post them. And if you need to talk, we can I can share my screen, or share the link that we can actually bring you on camera and we can chat. So we can do that as well. I'm going to go in order here. Go Lily, the person who can't hear me, has some questions typed in here. Let's see here. Our database reactivation service has caught Jabber's attention, and they'd like to explore possible business partnership collaborations to offer it to their customers. Have you heard of a business partnership like this between Go High Level Built products and third-party CRMs like Jabber? And if so, would this be problematic from a legal standpoint, considering we're Go High Level? No problem with the length of the message. That's all good. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, did you see that? There's a cattail walking back there. It's my daughter's cat. Hopefully he won't bother us too much. He drives me crazy sometimes on these calls. For whatever reason, he can be completely on his own all day, and then as soon as I sit down on one of these calls, he wants to come over and get attention from me. Drives me nuts. All right, so I am not familiar with Jabber. Let me go ahead and share my screen and take a look at Jabber just to make sure I understand kind of the full context of what is being asked here. So jabber.com. And let me just share my screen here in one moment. So the question, because I was kind of reading it fast there, in case folks did not get it, is that Go Lily here has been using the High Level platform, nice job, to offer a service based on some SMS marketing and kind of follow-up marketing with what was the particular niche? Power washers, which is awesome. I love power washers, by the way. So they're concerned that Jabber approaching them and asking if they're interested in some sort of partnership might potentially be a conflict of interest or something like that. Yes, you can hop on video with me. Sure. Hold on one second here. Let me get the invite. And so this is Jabber. Organize your service business and impress your clients. Manage your business back and forth with customers from one place. Estimate, quote, schedule, invoice, and get paid. No software experience required. So that is Jabber. And it looks like Jabber could have some, let's see here. What are the features? Online booking, client hub, client manager, scheduling and dispatch, job forms, email and postcard marketing, quotes and follow-ups, customer communication via text messages. So Yeah, I think that the obvious question here, and maybe Go Lily when they come on camera here can help us out with this, is why we would look at this as any sort of opportunity to collaborate versus this just being a competitor. And so that would be my first question. This looks just like a competitor to me. And so what would that relationship, what do they envision in that relationship as a possibility? All right, here we go. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, good to see you.
Hey, you too. I've been watching you for a long time, man.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
I appreciate what you do and everything, and you've definitely helped me along the way. So I'm really excited. I was waiting for the right question to ask, and I think this is something that maybe you could help with. Yeah, I sort of missed the last like 30 seconds to a minute because I was like connecting. So I can continue.
Yeah, the thing that I brought up, and I think is the key question for me here, is why is this an opportunity to collaborate versus this just being a competitor who's like trying to get in your business?
So the way I'm seeing it is that potentially this could be a situation where they're not utilizing text messages nearly as much, especially if you're not doing database stuff. So maybe they could utilize our company on the back end, white label it as their own thing, potentially. Or I don't know yet because the meeting hasn't happened, but it's something that we're generating a lot of revenue for these companies. And Jobber is in, I've seen they're all over the place, at least in the companies I'm working with. A lot of them already have this. And I tried to think about, of course, high level we could make something similar to this, but I found a lot more success just doing one simple thing for this industry. So maybe there's an opportunity for them because they have thousands of clients. They have thousands of clients potentially that could offer this as just like an add-on or something to where they don't even necessarily have to know that we exist.
Got it.
Maybe that's sort of my thought on how it would be beneficial to them. Like without, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, no, that very well could be. So right now, the way that you are presenting yourself in the marketplace, like if they were to land on your website right now, are you presenting yourself in a way that looks competitive to this? Are you showing like we have all these features of high level?
No, it's literally it's just a retention based database reactivation.
Yeah,
that's it.
And so did they get on your radar because some of their customers are having success in generating revenue, and so they're seeing that and they're
yes. So we have a client who has been in the business for 27 years with his own power washing company, and he owns a wholesaling outlet that has 200 companies that he sells equipment to, and he has close connection to this Jobber, which is a startup company. They have probably like 20 people or so, but it's a pretty decent sized. They're growing, and it's an opportunity as they grow where they might be more open to something.
Yeah.
And like a bigger.
Cool. So I think that this could be a good opportunity for you then. So, and I'm glad I understand now a little bit better, like how you're presenting in the marketplace and kind of the wins you're having and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that if you keep it at the level of, hey, we're these campaigns. We've got this, kind of special sauce in these campaigns that we're able to do that's creating revenue. And you've got all these customers that, this is the ideal fit for them.
Right.
I think that that's potentially a real nice combo there. And so in terms of how that deal could work out and be structured for you, it honestly would not surprise me at all if they want no financial arrangement at all with you and just say, yeah, we just love to have you doing this for as many customers as we can, and us be the introduction to it, so we kind of get credit and then we keep them happy inside of Jobber, right? Because they just want customers that are successful in building their businesses so that they keep on paying for and using their software, right?
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised at all if it's just hey, we would just love to introduce you to our customers. And as an example, so like I used, earlier on building Kutenda in particular, there were software platforms that had big customer bases that were my target customer. And so I just got deals with them where I just ran a webinar to them and just educated their customers on, hey, here's some of the marketing things that you could be doing. And then if you're interested in following up with us after the webinar, here's what to do. And that was incredibly successful for us to grow the business. And there was no financial arrangement needed at all, because those software companies are just, we have our business model already. Our business model is software. It works really well. We make a lot of money on software. We don't really care that we can mark up your whatever by an extra 20% or any of that stuff. Just just do whatever you can do to make our customers' businesses more successful, because then they're just going to keep on paying us for more software.
True.
Right?
It's
So
a value add, It's
exactly.
One of those things where it's just a nice thing to give to your client. I mean, if you have thousands of customers,
totally,
kind of like another, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So there's a real good chance that that's the way that this will go down, and they're not going to need, or want any sort of financial compensation. If that is not what they have in mind, if they're thinking about some sort of model where they're actually going to make money from this and kind of like white label your services or something like that, then, I would just hear them out. Hey, what do you have in mind? How do you envision that this would be structured? I would let them present what they think is ideal for them, and then you can respond to that. I think that in your case, as long as you're able to maintain your margins in delivering the service, so they're not looking at chipping away. Let's just say, I don't know how you're charging right now, but let's just say that you're charging a flat. Well, actually, tell me, are you charging a flat monthly fee?
$489 a month. $489 a month.
$489 a month. Cool. So if you're able to just say, yeah, my services are $489 a month, and they go, yeah, that's fine. We're just going to make it $599 a month, and we'll roll it out at $599 a month. And then we'll just take our percentage right there, that right on the top. So you're maintaining your margins, you're happy, and they're just bringing you a ton of new customers. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if they propose anything where it's potentially eating into your margins, like they say, hey, that's the price point we want to go with, but we want 20% of that or something, then I think that you need to be, real thoughtful as to whether or not it makes sense to you, because getting a ton of customers, if I don't know how you're delivering the service, but if this service is like really automated, awesome. Get a ton of customers, and that 20% is essentially your cost of sales, and they're being your sales force for you. So no problem.
Right. And the hardest part, or maybe something they could help with, is they already have all the databases inside their own system.
Yeah.
So if it was something where they could even do, because the hardest part is onboarding and getting the data from the people. That's the hardest thing for us to do. And once we have it, though, it's just about education at that point and training them how to use it.
Cool.
But I think, what do you think about, so there's no issues? I guess the deep under rooting question that I have is with a platform like Go High Level, legally, can you, is there any legal, because contracts and stuff, if that were to be like a legal document, it'd be super complex and stuff. And with that, what's to stop them from just cutting me out and going straight to High Level? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, what we do, it's really not rocket science here, at least for what I'm doing, but it works really well just based off the pipelines that I've built and stuff. But what's to stop them from, you don't think that's anything to worry about?
No, you could certainly, in your legal agreement, you could certainly have a legal agreement with them that says, hey, look, you're going to have access to proprietary information about our tools and processes and things like that. And you agree not to, do anything that is then going to take advantage and benefit you and not benefit me, with those processes. So that would be super common language in a deal like this. Ultimately, anytime you're talking about legalities, of course, you want to put the sensible things in place to protect yourself. And then you've always got to think about, at what point am I willing to actually spend money to fight something or not? And, because, lawyers are expensive. So like, unless
yeah.
you're willing to drop, $150,000 to go to court, and have a chance of winning or not,
Yeah. It's just kind of
so
one of those, you got to take risks, Like
yeah, exactly. That's so I think, this is a scenario of one is better than zero, right? So if if this works and generates some business for you, I mean, yes, you're taking some risk that potentially they could, oh, here's how these guys are doing this, and so we're just going to walk away with our campaigns. But honestly, if let's just pretend that you're that conniving evil jobber CEO who's thinking that way, right? I would find my handful of customers that I know are already working with you, because they figured out somehow or another that their customers are working with you.
Right.
And I would just say, hey guys, maybe we could just have a little chat and you can tell me how this is working for you. And hey, you mind if I just log into your account and see what's going on? I mean, it would not be very hard for them to swipe this business without having to do a deal with you.
They're focused on way different things here.
Yeah.
So
that's what I think as well.
Yeah.
Well, so I would just go for it. And like I said, I mean, make sure the deal is sensible for you and make sure that there's a sensible agreement in place. But I would just go for it, man. It seems like a cool opportunity to me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for putting that into perspective.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for tuning in and asking the question. And I appreciate it. And let me know, please circle back here and let us know how it goes.
Absolutely, man.
Awesome. All right. Good luck with everything.
All right, man. Take care.
Thanks. You too. All right. Let's see here. Next question. I'm going to go in order. Got a bunch of folks here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Let's see here. Sorry. So I put in the link there, guys. Anybody who wants to join and come on camera, you can that way. Otherwise, you can just ask in the comments and I will see your questions here. Okay. Let's see here. Michael says, where can I find your snapshots and services at scale? Okay, Michael, the snapshots are in the services that scale mastermind area. And so you want to go inside of that course and you'll see a resources section here that's got my snapshots. Okay, but it's inside of services that scale mastermind, not inside of services that scale the course. The services that scale course is really just, that's teaching the strategies and giving examples and things like that. Services that scale mastermind is where the actual snapshots live. Okay. Let me see here. I think my camera is back to life and I hate having not HD quality anything, because there we go. We like to slice and dice our content and, use it in different places. So I always want to make sure we're HD if we can be. All right. Thank you. Let's hear Boyd. I see you back there, sir. You're welcome. Are you ready to join me? Awesome. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. You got that fancy setup. You sound like a DJ. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well, I went to a funeral for one of my friends.
Ooh, sorry.
In South Dakota and got COVID for the first time. So I was live streaming that sucker and we reached about 2,500 people from a 1 megabit upload or less during the whole time. So that was successful, put it that way.
Man, wow.
Okay, I have an offer that I would like some help on figuring out my price point. And it's basically an interview offer. I've done a lot of these over the years and it kind of looks like, let me set this up. I'll give you the kind of high level view. So imagine like, either it can be a 2-person thing or it can be a multi kind of thing where we're doing a weekly show or a monthly show where people come in and ask their questions, right? Make sense so far?
Yep.
And what this kind of looks like from my standpoint, I've got 3 different areas that this operates in. It's basically an interview pre-production process. It's an interview production process, and then it's a post-interview process where we get traffic and more views basically to everybody. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I take a look at, I think I got this right. Yeah. This is my campaign over here. And my price point, if you will, if I can do the right screen here. price of all these kind of 3 levels, each one of them are like $3,000 roughly. So if somebody was going to do a payment plan with me, it'd be like, $3,000 for each of the 3 phases. So that way they can kind of, I can start with one and do, well, let me get straight to the thing. So the big idea here is the $1 million messages. I just gave it a working title of Video Sales Evolution 2.0. And basically the big idea is that it replaces webinars and the time that it takes to get webinars created and all that kind of stuff. So we have a proprietary method where in that pre-interview, we come up with questions in your offer and all that stuff. And then it's just basically without having to create a slide deck that puts everybody off and says, hey, this is the sales pitch coming up. We just basically interview Mike Cooch and say, hey, Mike, tell us about services that scale, and let's answer some questions, and people can join at the end or not. And what's the value there? And then basically you just sit down and talk to me for like 30 minutes and we're done.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So basically it's Video Sales Evolution is a unique video sales program that helps entrepreneurs, product owners, course creators, and coaches increase sales in 30 days using video interviews without afraid of being on camera, not being a good speaker, or being technology challenged. So they can build wealth and increase their marketplace authority.
Cool.
Okay?
Yep. And so your question is how to price this?
Yeah. So if I go back to this, my big thing is trying to get into a recurring thing. So this middle part right here, which is the actual interview.
Yep.
Look, because I can make these into short reels. There's also another tract of here where I can take out those frequently asked questions to put them into 2-minute things, into 15-second things, and put them on TikTok, for example. So that short thing is very appropriate to here as well. So I'm trying to figure out this price point for this Q&A interview thing. So for this half an hour, for example, I'm doing a 2-hour webinar for people that's turning into a podcast, goes on to a replay onto YouTube and builds YouTube channels. I'm charging $700 for that, but it's basically up to the person who decides whether they've got somebody to interview or not, whether they're, giving me that schedule for the month. I haven't got something recurring built in that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because they're coming up with the hosts and stuff.
Yep.
So basically my big idea was that I was trying to do this Q&A webinar model like every month for at least $500 plus some kind of setup fee. I'm doing to start to do short videos. I feel like it's more closer to $1,000. I'd be happy with 10 clients paying $1,000 because I know that I can scale this by coming in a couple of other team members into this. Basically, it's just somebody sits down with me for two hours a month, and I can create this product, and then be able to get them more eyeballs to their offers every month.
Yeah, no, I get it. Cool. I love it. I think it's awesome. I love how you put it together and everything. You see the GrowthWorks platform. That's cool. So what I would recommend that you do with this, yes, is just turn it into a recurring offer where it's, every month, every other month, every quarter, whatever. And you could have multiple different plans, right? So you could have hey, look, if you're on this budget, this type of thing, it's once a quarter. This thing, if you're somebody who really wants to dominate your market, it's once a month. And we slice and dice all this content to go with it. So not only are you getting the interview, you're getting the production value, you're getting all the content sliced and diced for you, yada, yada. Yeah, I totally love it. And then, in terms of pricing, there's the cost-based pricing and there's value-based pricing. So with your cost-based pricing, primarily with this, it's just time, right? You got to do time for the interview, time for the editing. So whatever that is, and that better than anybody, just kind of looking at the whole process here. Okay, here's the number of hours that would require. Here is the person that would have to do that and what their pay range is. And so I would take the simple formula is if you take their W-2 of that person and multiply it times 2.5, then that will get you an hourly rate that you actually need to be selling at. So if it's a $50 an hour W-2 and you multiply that times 2.5, then that gives you the hourly rate that you need to bake into that package. So if they have 5 hours at that hourly rate, then that would be the minimum, to me, acceptable price that you could put that out at. So if we say that ends up being, $625, then you could say, hey, this is a $699 a month package. And theoretically, that would be enough to then cover all those time costs and be good. If those were your only costs, which it sounds like it's all digital. So it sounds like that's probably it. If there's any other hard costs, of course, now we got to build that in there. And then there's the value-based pricing. So, you can argue, hey, look, forget all the cost base, because the value of this is way higher than that, and the perceived value is way higher. So I can sell it at much more. So let's, just go there. I don't know who you're selling to in particular.
Coaches, entrepreneurs, like basically the LinkedIn audience, I think is basically a good fit for me.
Yeah, I think, so in that case,
businesses and entrepreneurs, like I want to do all my Flint neighborhood, for example, that are business builders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think that, I think to me, like $1,000 a month price point minimum sounds, to me, as a minimum, that sounds like from a value-based perspective, I would totally, I think that's a very sellable price point. So it's a $997 a month kind of thing. I don't think that there's any value to you in selling it like at $7 something a month versus $997. Like if I was looking at it, I was going, I need it to be around $7 something a month anyway, I would just go ahead and make it at least $997 a month and have that $200 cushion. I don't think that you're going to lose enough deals because of that to justify keeping it below that point. If
we're just talking about the interview, correct? Or am I talking about the whole thing? Because this whole thing, it feels like it's closer to almost $10,000 if I'm doing this regularly.
If it's an interview, well, so I don't know, you tell me. Interview, and I see like paid ads and stuff. I'm not talking about paid ads. So I'm talking about interview and then slice dice content.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I get it as a deliverable. I get my full video of me in the interview. Yep. Plus I get a bunch of sliced up versions. Mm-hmm. Plus I get a transcript, whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm
even. I can pull this into a podcast.
Yeah. So that's what I'm referring to at that like $997 price point. And I could see that being $1,500 a month. I could see like in that range being very, very sellable at those price ranges. I think if you're going above that, I think it probably starts to get to be a harder sell unless you're going after a specific market where you're going to be able to, do some, hey, whatever attorney, your average client is, $67,000. And I've got the metrics to show you that we're going to get you, X new clients. So this is an easy ROI for you, even if I'm charging $2,500 for that or whatever. But that range seems like a good range to me, like somewhere in that $997 to $1,500 kind of thing.
Makes sense. I'm still okay. Great. So that answered that part. So now transferring this to that high ticket and trying to transfer this into, okay, what can I charge $10,000, $25,000 for? Because I've got press releases. I've got the GrowthWorks platform that I can allow people to get in and get coached and create their offers, for example, and build their funnels out. We can do that through Go High Level. I just did a reactivation campaign through Go High Level. That's a separate thing. I think I don't think that particularly will work with this. It's a separate product, but I'm trying to figure out how, because this what you're seeing on the screen now can be a call-in show too, just like how we're using StreamYard right now. But I can actually have a producer call in and then vet the person and get them ready for the show and make sure that they've got a good question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and then I can brand the whole show for them.
Yeah.
Which I'd be doing anyway, but I mean, it'd be their show. Like it'd be like the Humana Q&A health show, for example, about diabetes this week.
Yeah, and you could coordinate like having, their customers on that would come on and do like good testimonials and stuff and being a part of it. Yeah. So I could see that definitely being a higher ticket offer. I could see some sort of coaching around, hey, here's the offer development so that while we're on camera here, here's what you're going to finish the conversation leading people to that's going to get you the best results. I could see that one being a higher ticket thing. I could see a higher ticket thing being here's how we now market this on the other side. Like, I saw in one of your columns there, the ads type of thing. Like you could have a whole marketing plan for them based around this content. PR submissions, all that type of stuff where it's like, hey, we can blast this content's visibility to the moon for you. I think any of those could do.
Okay, cool.
And in terms of like which of those or what specific blend of those, honestly, I would probably, it's probably going to be primarily based on the market that you find kind of responds to that initial offer, I think. And do you find like, if it turns out that you're getting a bunch of attorneys that are biting on this or a bunch of dentists that are biting on this, then I think you can probably end up shaping that higher ticket offer, the specifics of it, based on that market. Or you find, hey, I'm just getting customers across the board, and so it's got to be a little more general. But I would give myself a little bit of time to worry about the details of that, by getting out and selling your initial package first.
Last question in our services at scale, Leverage Academy. It seems to me like going through the going through the services at scale method would be good here, right?
Yep.
And also probably down with agency funnel bootcamp and trying to get this into a go high level in some way, shape, or form. But I've had problems just being, trying to do too much thinking about this rather than just getting the offer out.
Yeah,
way to get the offer out. Put it that way.
Yeah, I would sit. With the agency sales funnel bootcamp, you should be able to put together a simple sales process and just have the thing out there quickly. I mean, if you take like any of the R4 related snapshots that are available through that,
yeah,
should be able to put together a sales process, very quickly.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for your time, sir. You're awesome.
Of course, man. I love it. I love what you're putting together. I think that's excellent. So nice job, and I hope you feel better here soon.
Thank you. The last thing, if I can just give some comments to my friends out there who are building businesses like me.
Yeah.
A year ago, I went into go into partnership with building a marketing of an event center that was 40,000 square feet. And I was trying to take my television studio out of my house, and I moved it into there to 20 by 40 room, built a green screen, and finally had contracts put together with the owners to basically have 40% of the revenue that came in from all of the events that we would promote. I got 166 calls after building a Google My Business profile. They didn't respond to any of them when I forwarded them to them. And when we finally got a client in and they cleared out the 700 person ballroom from all the chairs that they were selling so that we could actually do the event, they decided not to pay me the $1,600, which was the part of my 40%, and just pay me 20% based on them waiting 11 months and saying, oh, we can't pay you that because we had to pay all these other people to clear out the room to get this thing ready. In the process, I've installed fiber optics into the building, which now has cost me $24,000 for the event, for the construction.
Wow.
Anyway, long story short, I realized that these people weren't trustworthy, and my release was being renewed after an annual, paying it up front within 2 weeks. So I just bailed out of there and broke my contract. So what I've learned a lot of things out of that. I don't regret any of that, and even though it's a lot of money, I've probably, because I put in, 25 to 40 hours a week, rehabbing the place and fixing drywall and painting, because I love doing that stuff. It was just, frankly, it was meditation for me, because that's kind of who I am. Scale your business in a way that makes sense and doesn't put you at risk, because I frankly, that's my big idea here, is that, I stressed out my wife, I stressed out my family, put the mortgage back a couple months. We're all doing better now, but I could have done what I'm doing now without having to move from this room and take my SBA loan, put it into traffic, and get the word out faster.
Yeah.
That's what I should have done. Probably that was smarter than just buy my own building to begin with. So that's just the last thing I'll part with and say, scale your business smartly.
Yeah. I like that. It's a good message. And I think that the practical kind of execution of that for everybody that hears that and goes, oh, well, what am I supposed to do with that in terms of scaling smartly? The way that I think about that always, I learned this from Jack Stack in the Great Game of Business. And he talked about how every business that he started or got into, that his first focus was always, how do I create what he calls an overhead absorber? And an overhead absorber, you'll hear people talk about like a core offer, that type of thing. So what is that offer that I can get out there, get going, get it working in high enough volume that it covers everything for me? I know I'm set. And then you're in a position where, okay, you want to take some swings, take some extra swings and take some extra risks on some things, then, all good. But absolutely, anybody building their business, starting their business, looking at potential ways that they could spend money, invest money, is there an overhead absorber in that conversation that you're evaluating? And do you have one now that's working for you? And if not, if the answer is no to either of those things, you just got to get your butt busy on your core offer, just like he's talking about here, to make sure that you're covering your own first, I think for me, it's so funny. I don't know about you, but for me, it's funny because the older I get, I'm actually more patient, which, it doesn't make any sense to me, because I'm like, I have less years in this life to do things with. But it's so much easier for me to think, you know what, I'm going to do this for 10 years and the ROI will come at year 10. And I'm okay with that. Like the big win will come at year 10. When I was 25, I could not think that way at all. Like anything that was going to take longer than 24 months, I was like, oh my God, I'll be dead and old by then, So I don't know why now, when I am old, it's easier for me to think longer term, but it is. But I think it's so important to all of you that, there's a lot of impatience in entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of impatience in starting things, and we want that payoff to be so fast. But man, if you think like, gosh, if I just put 2 years into getting my core offer going, I am always shocked. And I'll tell you guys, I've had a number of times in my career where I've had to turn around, where I had, I flying high, and then, oops, something got me. And I was like redlining and looking at my numbers and going, uh-oh, I could be in real trouble here. And now I've got to dig in and turn it around. I am shocked at what you can change in your life in 2 years. It's always been the case for me. 1 year is tough. 1 year you can get on the right track and get a lot of momentum. 2 years, you can literally be in a totally different position financially and, health-wise. I mean, whatever it is. That's been my experience multiple times in my career. And so that's my message, like kind of following up on your message here. It's like, man, guys, put your head down, plan on 2 years of busting your butt, where you're focused on a core offer that's going to change your life. And then when it does, and you're like, hey, there's a big swing I want to take investing in X, Y, and Z. Now you're in a position where you can take those bigger swings, and it doesn't put, doesn't stress the family as much, doesn't put the mortgage at risk, things like that. Cause I've been there, man. I've done it both ways. And I agree with you. So awesome, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Keep on hustling. I love it.
I'm putting these figures into a growth planning workshop, and then we're going to be good. Thank you, sir.
I love it. All right. Let's see here. So I see Mike and I want to say, is it Juana? I hope I'm saying that right. Anyway, back there, I'm going to let you guys on in 1 second. I'm going to go through some of these little shorter, faster comments to respond to people here first. Rick, good morning. Mike, how does Andrew Cass make money with $37 a month PLP SaaS offering, including the mobile app? Seems very undervalued offering, although I understand he's kicking butt with it. I'm not familiar with the $37 a month offer, so I'd have to take a look at that specifically and know what all is included in that. But if it's just if he's just building on top of high level, I mean, there's a couple of things. I mean, one, selling at that price point, he's able to just get a bunch of accounts. And so if he's got any sort of upsell path, then after he's sold that customer, if he's got any other additional offers or anything like that he can make to that list, that, you know, could be just kind of like a loss leader approach a little bit. The second thing is, if he's got any sort of like usage cap on that, so then after you use it beyond a certain point, then you have to start paying it. So maybe that includes, you know, 100 SMS messages a month. But as soon as you go over 100 SMS, you have to start paying based on usage. So, you know, I don't know. I'd have to look at the specifics of the offer, but those are the types of things that I would be looking for. You know, ConvertKit, any of those platforms, they typically offer like a free usage model. So like ConvertKit's got a free model, right? And the reason that works is because the cost of providing that for free versus the cost of acquiring a customer at a higher price point, it just makes sense. Like they get, you know, thousands of people coming to them and just creating free accounts, knowing that a percentage of those will then use the platform enough that they're going to upgrade into paying accounts and their margins all work out. So that's the kind of thing that I'd be, you know, looking at there, Rick. But again, I'd have to know the exact specifics of what he's doing. Cecilia, I just finished Services at Scale. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Let's see, where do I find the snapshot included in the free content you offer to use as our own? So those things. So Cecilia, not knowing exactly what you bought, in Services that Scale Mastermind, I have all kinds of snapshots, and you get access to my content delivered service, where every month we're creating blog posts for you, social posts for you, and newsletter content for you. So that's in the Services that Scale Mastermind. If you just bought Services that Scale, you may have bought my R4 sales system as an upsell, because I offer that as an upsell. In the R4 sales system, there's all kinds of content that I include: lead magnet content, campaign content, follow-up content. That's all inside of that R4 membership area, the course membership area. So I hope that puts you in the right direction. And certainly anybody who's having any problem with anything like that, you can always email help@servicesatscale.com, and we will make sure and get back to you and make sure we get you, you know, sorted. Okay. So let's see here. Let me go back to questions. Cecilia, question number 2 is the Instagram strategy to reach potential clients, Latin owners. How is the Instagram strategy to reach potential clients, Latin owners and restaurant owners in New York? Yeah, I love that. So the strategy, just kind of summing it up, Cecilia, is that in your market, what you should do is you should build up a foodie Instagram account. So just start, you know, whatever you want to call it, you know, best Latin food New York, right? So create an Instagram account that's like best Latin food New York, and start capturing pictures and you know, going out to these restaurants and getting good content and stuff like that, and sharing that content on Instagram. There's going to be a ton of people that in New York that want to follow that account, because there's going to be a ton of, you know, eaters in New York that would love to know where those best restaurants are. Now you have this incredible platform that all of those Latin restaurant owners, they're going to want to have their restaurants, you know, content on your Instagram account. So it gives you just an excellent foot in the door to be able to, hey, let us share your restaurant on here. And, you know, they're going to start tagging you on photos, all that type of stuff. So once you have a little bit of momentum with that account, is the easiest thing in the world to then just mention the restaurants on your posts, when you mention them on their on your posts, and particularly on stories, and particularly on stories, it shows up in their inbox in Instagram as essentially like a message from you almost, but it shows up in that Instagram inbox, which is just like really prime territory for getting a response. So super, super easy to get in touch with businesses that way, and get in touch with restaurants that way in particular. Okay. And I have that local Instagram prospecting strategy. It's all documented in detail in there in my Instagram acceleration on how to grow the account as fast as you can. It's all documented in there if you want to take advantage of those. And then third question, this is my value proposition, the marketing machine for restaurant owners that prefer to focus on their time. Awesome. I love it. Yeah. Get more customers, spend less money, less time, whatever. Like, those are all universal messages that definitely will work. So let's see here. Is Go High Level doing anything to streamline the process with Twilio? So I think you may not know, Mr. Robert Brennan, that you can work directly now with High Level for an SMS service instead of going directly to Twilio. So they've essentially created a deal with Twilio where they are working as their own like network, so that they can interface with you directly as a customer, so you don't have to work with Twilio directly. So yes, that's a major, major streamline. And so you should check that out with High Level. What's up, J-Town? All right, let me see here. Mike Chapman, my friend, how are you, sir? Welcome to the call.
Good morning, Mike. Yeah,
good morning. How are you?
Wonderful, doing wonderful.
Good. How can I help?
Would like to go into the philosophy of the R4 a little bit more.
Yes, let's do it. My favorite.
Yeah, and I've got your R4 sitting right in front of me here.
Awesome.
A month ago, I asked you why you upgraded or updated the R4.
Mm-hmm.
It seems as though your answer had to do with, well, High Level came along and you wanted us to be able to use R4 better in light of our High Level platform.
Yeah, I found that there was enough conversation I was having with enough of you that with some slight adjustment, it would make it easier for you to position and sell your services if you were using High Level as a back-end kind of infrastructure for delivering those services. Yep.
Okay. Go. So for me to understand, since we're in two completely different industries, for me to understand the philosophy and apply the concepts of R4 to my product, I have here in front of me your Wayback Machine printed out, Kutenda offerings, attract, connect, engage, and ignite, which I've referred to a few times. Now, if I understand the philosophy correctly, what gives you the strongest, what gives your business model such strength is the fact you start out with such a high value, low cost initial offering, in this case, the website with the different kind of details that are involved with that. But really, the strength of your business plan has to do with the upsell, which once they begin the wow process with the website, what they're actually wowed by is the upsell mostly. And that's why, is it correct to assume that what was your actual goal to mainly sell Ignite, which was the combo pack? And is that what sold mostly?
Yeah. So good question here. So my intention was always to sell the more full service packages that you're talking about there. So the combo package. Yeah. But here's the way that I have learned to always structure my services. And I think that you all should do your best to always structure your services this way as well. I structured them so that I was almost completely indifferent to which package they bought, because my margins were going to be very similar no matter what. And and so whatever was best for them was best for me, and I didn't really care. So I recommend that you put yourself in that position as much as you can, so that you are not incentivized to force customers into anything, that you're not trying to push for something, because then you're selling. And with the goal should always be for all of you, how do I keep my customers as long as I possibly can, paying me recurring revenue as long as I possibly can, right? To do that really well, you ideally don't want to be in a position of feeling like you have to sell. You want to be in a position of feeling like, hey, I'm going to do whatever's best for you. Let's have a good conversation and find out which of these is best for you. And that's what we're going to do. And that your customers feel that. Your customers feel you're not trying to pressure me into the more expensive thing just to get me into the more expensive thing. Right? So by having the packages that were like the combo packages at higher price points, we had certain customers that made absolute sense for. And then we had some customers that it didn't, and they wanted some of the lower packages. And then we had a bunch of customers that were just the websites. And that was okay, because the math all worked out for me. The websites, I had less margin, less dollars on those websites, but they were super, super, super fast to sell. So I had a much lower cost of sales as well. So I was okay with having the lower total dollar volume. Versus on the higher packages, they had more of a sales process. I had to have a salesperson more involved. I had to pay more commission, it took more time, took more cost. So the higher price point was necessary, and it worked, and I was happy with that too. So I always recommend that you try to put yourself in that position, is what I would say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes very good sense. One of the key parts to the sales process is when they go from their curiosity to the buy. You mentioned that there's a conversation that takes place.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an actual conversation? Did they have a phone number to call?
Yeah. So yes. So what we have always done is always had an option to actually hop on a phone with a salesperson if you need to. Yep.
Okay. So you get to know that business and what their needs might be. So rather than trying to sell, you're familiarizing them with your products and helping to you're both coming to a realization of what they need, and that they kind of guide themselves into the sale that way.
Yeah. And look, my salespeople are trying to sell. I mean, they're,
Right.
these are guys getting paid commission and all that type of stuff. So they're trying to sell, but the way that I have our sales conversation scripted, it's a strategic sales conversation. It's hey, let's find out what you need. Let's talk about what we have to offer and see if there's a match. And if there is, awesome. And if there isn't, we totally get it. And you can go do your thing.
Right.
So we're trying to make sure that as much as possible, by the time somebody gets to the point where we're on the phone with them, they understand our offer and they're pretty well qualified, and they probably just have a couple lingering questions that we need to, hey, Mike, have I answered your questions now? Yeah, you've answered my questions. Great. Well, would you like to get started? And try and just convert those people.
Yeah. Very, very good. For me, the process is going to be very much the same. I think the reason, I'll just make this final comment. I think the reason that many of our customers don't have much of what we're offering is because they're in a state of being sold to without understanding what they really need.
Totally.
And unless you get them through that process, they're going to stay like that.
Totally. 100%. And this is why educational marketing is so stinking important for all of us to be doing. This is why you should have a value added content marketing plan where you are educating businesses on what they should be doing, could be doing, how they could be doing it, because most of them have no clue. So yes, when somebody comes and whacks them over the head with an offer of, we can do these 72 things, and they're like, I don't even know what those 72 things are. Like, I mean, what,
Right.
Okay. Right. So a uneducated buyer is your worst enemy. You want them educated. You want them to know, I should be doing these things, and here's why. And I learned that from Mike. And so I'm going to buy from Mike.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Thanks for your time, Mike.
Of course. Thank you, sir. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Great to be here.
All right. Let's see here. Okay. Juana, am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you got it right.
Awesome. Every time I
First
see
go
it,
round.
I want to throw a hard J in front of it, and then I'm like, no, that's not right. Damn it. How
That's
are you?
all right. You can always think of it as just say marijuana.
Okay. Awesome.
Then you won't forget.
There you go.
All right, thanks a
Now
lot,
I
Mike.
will never forget that now. Thank you.
Right.
That's
what everybody
really
does.
burned into my brain now.
How
can I help?
So I'm doing the newsletter profits,
Yes.
and on theirsandiego.com. What platform are you using with that? Because I want to try to duplicate it, but I don't remember seeing that in the training.
I'm using GoodBits and MailChimp. GoodBits and MailChimp. You could use just either one of those. I'm using the combo. I mean, gosh, I honestly, Juana, I set up that infrastructure 7 years ago now, and I have not changed it. So it's possible, that, you may want to do it a different way, but here's why I use both and why I like both. And then you can decide if that's a good fit for you. GoodBits allows me to very easily put the content into a newsletter format that looks really pretty. Like all you have to do, like let's say you find an article that you want to share in your newsletter. You just take the URL from that article, drop it into GoodBits. It automatically pulls it into your newsletter, grabs images from that article and stuff like that to make it look pretty. You can just edit the 2-line summary or whatever you want to just very quickly. Like it does all of that. Oops, one dropped off, but I'm going to keep on answering. Hopefully you can hear me and see me here or watch the replay. But that allows you to pull that content into your newsletter very, very easily and efficiently. As an example, like their San Diego newsletter this week, it's got like 20 different pieces of content in there. It took me 30 minutes to get that thing out the door. That's it. Super efficient. Okay. And then it plugs into and mails through MailChimp. At the time, the reason why I did that is because GoodBits did not offer a service for actually sending the mail. It was just for making a beautiful newsletter that you could then plug into these various service providers and say, hey, look, we work with MailChimp. We work with all these ones you're already working with, so you can still send it through that. I think that GoodBits now has an option to send through them, but I'm not even 100% sure. Don't know. What I can tell you is that if you just use MailChimp and try and create your newsletter just in MailChimp, it's going to take you a lot longer. MailChimp's a great tool, but it's not focused on how to create that newsletter super fast and make it good looking really, really easily like GoodBits is. So GoodBits to MailChimp is what I'm doing. I think that if you start there and then maybe do a little bit of extra research, because it's been so long since I've set those up, to say, okay, there might be some other ways to adjust this though. I think that that's probably a good bet, but it's a great combo. It works for me. Teresa, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. What's up?
It's good to see you.
You too.
I'm going to see you in Dallas, right?
Yes, sir. You will.
I love it.
Be there. Can't wait.
Awesome.
It'll be fun.
How can I help you?
My question today is, I'm sort of backing away from the media business. I won't bore you with the long, gory details of why, but I'm shifting gears. And I think your answer for me may be really similar to what you said to Boyd earlier about how to price. But I'm going back to the idea of content repurposing for podcasters and focusing on shorts and reels and getting those types of snippets out of the podcast and throwing a blog version of it in there as well.
I love it.
So podcasts are as popular as ever. So I'm assuming that there's no lack of clients for whatever niche it is.
If you are going to get into the business of helping people produce content, there is never going to be a lack of opportunity. That's only going, that pie is only getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and will be getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. So do you see that as a $1,000 a month service? If what I don't know is and I still have a lot of research to do, but I'm thinking if people put out a podcast once a week, that's 4 per month. Is $997, $1,000 a month enough for that? Because I'm thinking most podcasts are about 45 minutes, 45 minutes. Is that true? I mean, how many podcasts do you see being an average for processing each month?
I don't know,
Two.
but I would base it on the podcast. So if I were you and thinking of pricing it, I would come up with a price per episode, you know, as the foundation of your model. And then you can then structure your pricing on top of that in a variety of different ways. So in other words, if you said, okay, if somebody's got a 45-minute podcast and I'm going to slice and dice the content for them and I'm going to give them these 10 deliverables, here's how much it costs me to do that. Okay. So then you come up with a cost and you come up with a price. If you were just doing one episode and say, okay, that would be my price for me to make good money on this. Now you can use that as a foundation to come up with a monthly package. You could create a monthly package where you say at $997, it includes 4 episodes each month. So once a week, we'll take, an episode and slice and dice it. Now that podcaster may go, well, yeah, but I record 3 times a week and I'd like them all done. And then you could say, oh, okay, well, we have a higher volume package for $3,000 a month, and then we can do, up to 4 a week, that type of thing. Right. So you can structure your pricing based on that. But I would work on what is one episode turned into all of the content that we're going to turn it into. What is the cost and price structure of that? And then you can just go from there. And I think it's an excellent service. It's an excellent model. The biggest variable, just so you know, well, you may already know this, but from my experience, the biggest variable in terms of your cost and your value proposition is, are you going to take that podcast, listen to it for them, determine the right snippets and create the content?
Yes.
Or are you going to, because the alternative is you can ask them to say, hey, just tell us what are the highlight moments you'd like to feature. And then it's a totally different cost structure, because then you're not listening to 45-minute snippets or podcasts. And you're also able to have a different level of talent working for you to be able to do that, because the level of talent that can listen to the episode and find the right content is different than the level of talent that can be told from the 1 minute, 37-second mark to the 1 minute, 52 mark, take that and create a short, right? It's a totally different level of talent. So you just have to be aware of that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I hadn't thought of that. Because I figure
that will totally change. It's totally going to change your cost structure. Your cost structure will be probably, I would guess, 50% more expensive or double in terms of the hourly rate that you're going to end up paying somebody to be somebody who can find the things versus somebody who can just respond to what you tell them.
Okay. Because I'm thinking I'll be doing it at first and then eventually, outsource it to somebody. But maybe I could be at least for a while, go through it and identify those prime snippets, then hand it off to someone and say, here, here, and here, and let them do the detail work. But I'm going to do it all just at the beginning. And then my follow-up to that is, would it be worth it to offer as an add-on service posting, the actual posting, like with something like I think it's repurpose.io, just using that tool to post for them as a service on top of the repurposing?
I mean, it puts you in a totally different business, in my opinion.
Okay.
So it's not to say that that's right or wrong. I mean, they are very related businesses, and so you could certainly, you could certainly make the case for, we're going to do this. I would be really thinking about who's your avatar. Okay, because if your avatar is, my belief is if your avatar is somebody who's doing podcasting consistently, they probably already have an answer to posting on social media, but maybe not. So I think you got to decide who your avatar is and get to know that, that avatar a bit. But it's just, it's a different operational model for sure. So I think you just have to be prepared for that.
Okay. I think what I'd rather do is just be really good at this one thing and get really efficient at the one thing.
It is by far and away the bigger opportunity. So I like that. I like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hoping to have my ducks in a row and maybe find someone. Okay, well, let me ask this. Should I try to find someone maybe at the conference that I could do a podcast or two for free, just to help me walk through my processes? And
of course, if I were you, I would pick a bunch of episodes and start slicing and dicing and show examples. Yeah, absolutely. Nail your process. I mean, the great thing is you don't need anybody's permission.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
To dial in your process and get it nailed down and get really good at it and have something to showcase, you don't need anybody's permission. Just go take some podcast episodes from anybody, anywhere, and just start slicing and dicing.
That's true. Do you think it's important to pick a niche for this, or does it really matter?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, cool.
Your niche is podcasters.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great model. And I can tell you, I'm spending, as of this month, $3,000 a month on outsourced slicer dicer services. And it's money well spent. I mean, I think that, I guess what I'm saying is I think it's an excellent service model. I think that you have huge opportunity with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Let's see here. And I will see you in Dallas. I'm looking forward to that. Let's see here. What is the paid analytics platform I recommended? It's called Fathom. Fathom Analytics. FATHOM. Fathom Analytics. Okay. And it's awesome. I love it. Super simple, super cheap. Awesome, Boyd. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Oh, Juana is back on. Juana, did you drop and not hear all of my glorious answer?
Of course. Of course, that's what happened.
Of course. Well, I can summarize for you.
Okay.
And then it's in the recording as well if you want to go back and if I miss anything. But I use GoodBits to MailChimp. The reason why I use GoodBits is because it makes pulling the content into the newsletter very easy, very efficient, so that I can get my newsletter out the door in a half an hour. It's a really, really nice tool for actually bringing in the content and formatting the newsletter to look nice. And then I use MailChimp to actually do the sending. So it interfaces with MailChimp and sends through MailChimp.
Okay. Yeah, that's the newsletter. I'm talking about your website.
Oh, my website is just a good old WordPress website. It's
right.
I can't remember the theme, but if you email help@services@scale, I can tell you the theme that we're using. We just upgraded that recently, and it's been great.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, the theme.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I just don't know it off the top of my head, but email help@services@scale.com and I'll get you the name of it.
Okay. Just a couple other questions. So I'm getting ready to start my newsletter.
Okay.
It's okay to just start off with a couple feeds. I don't have to have a big long list. Or
a couple of what? A couple of like pieces of content in there?
Yeah. I'm thinking like 10 or so.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's plenty.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I have a competitor here in San Diego. They almost never have more than like 3 or 4 pieces of content in their newsletter. So
okay. And then I'm seeing that on your newsletters, you have the call to action button to learn more.
Yep.
And I'm actually sending a thing to GoodBits because I'm not even seeing where I can use that, where I can put that button on there. But in any case, when you click on there, it looks to me like your ads are actually on your website. Is that right? It looks like you have maybe some affiliates in there because you have some things that people can just click directly through to purchase on the right-hand side on your website. But then the newsletters, it's just information to click through. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's a combination of two. So on the website, I definitely have, just ads running on the website. In the newsletter, I have mostly content that sends people back to my website, which is where they'll see the ads. But I also sometimes put an actual ad in the newsletter. So when they click on it, they don't necessarily go to my website, they go to wherever that ad is pointing to.
Yes. Okay. And so you on purpose just make your ads look like it's just a regular piece of content.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Okay.
And let me say, not all the time. There's a strategy for each, right? So it just depends on what it is I'm advertising and why and how direct I want to be about it. But if it blends into the rest of the content, then that's called native, right? And so it's a little bit easier to get somebody to click without knowing that they're clicking on an ad, right? So there's a little bit it's a little bit more, cloaked, if you will, versus an ad is just like, boom, this is an ad. And I'll do both. It just depends on what it is that I'm advertising.
And so even if it's not native, you add that sometimes into the newsletter, or do you mostly and then mostly put that on the website, like on the in the right hand column?
Yep.
Yeah, because I asked you last time or another time about I think like my hand affiliates, and if I could basically put any kind of affiliates up there, and you're like, yeah, it's going to get eyeballs. So that would go on the site, on the website, as opposed to on the newsletter. It seems like.
But I put them in the newsletter too. I mean, if there's something that you want to promote, that you're like, hey, if I get clicks on this thing, it's going to make me money, and I want to promote it, put it in the newsletter too.
Okay, all right. I was just asking about being kind of congruent throughout the newsletter and focusing on it. I remember you saying stick to what the content is. I
might have misunderstood what you were asking. Like if you there are plenty of newsletters that I read. This is totally acceptable customer experience. That if I am reading a newsletter about San Diego food and restaurants and all that type of stuff, and halfway through the newsletter is a banner ad that says sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, come in for a test drive. And I click on that. It has nothing to do with the newsletter that I'm reading, but I'm a human being and I'm in the market for a car. And lo and behold, there's a Toyota banner in there. That is totally acceptable. Just like if I'm on your website and there's ads on the website that have nothing to do with their San Diego. I mean, because most of those ads are retargeting. So you're going to see ads for whatever you went and visited, whatever sites you're already visiting and stuff. You're going to see ads for those when you come to their San Diego. So everybody's having a different experience on their San Diego in terms of ads. So you can put just about anything you want in there.
Does it matter if I add sponsored on there?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Thank you so much. As always, you are so helpful. And
thank you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
All right now. Take care.
All right. Let's see here. Kathy says, hey, Mike, I'm watching my 3S system. Awesome. Am I cool to talk about the R4 system and reference you? We have an ebook and I can list services at scale, but I found a way to incorporate that with mine. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. Clear Vision Design. I'm working on my agency website and I'm trying to use the templates in the snapshot as a guide. Thank you. Does anyone else mind showing me what your sites look like as an example? So I would post that question either in my Facebook group or in my circle community, depending on which one of those you're in. You can post it in both of those though, if you want to, but I would post that there and absolutely. I'm sure, David. Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. We can find some examples to share with you. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you. Let's see here. John Lee Thomas says, the fact that you're curating events, eateries, and things to do from many different sources in San Diego allow you to successfully compete with previously entrenched media properties. Yeah, John, absolutely. So, you've got to have a strategy to differentiate and compete. Okay. And, so I have a strategy to differentiate and compete. And I would say that that strategy is getting more clear for me. So I think that I can do a better job of that. So just as an example though, let's take San Diego Magazine is the big, kind of the big name in this market. Okay. San Diego Magazine has a print magazine that they're very reliant on, and they have the infrastructure, the cost, all of the overhead associated with that, right? They have a much bigger, more expensive team. So part of my strategy with them is just to be leaner and meaner and be able to do more for my customers at a totally different price point than those guys can, because I don't have the overhead. So my content may or may not be dramatically different from them, but my cost structure and my business model can be. So that is a, now they should be looking at me and saying, we have a competitive advantage because we have a nice print magazine that we're actually delivering to people. That is true. That is a competitive advantage that they should capitalize on, right? So everybody's competing to win, and you got to use what your assets are. My assets are, I have no infrastructure, no overhead, right? So that ad that San Diego Magazine is charging $5,000 for, I can charge $1,000 for, right? So there's let's see here, San Diego Reader, which has been here forever in San Diego, and they do like the real cheap, like more newspaper print style magazines, like every week. Very urban, gritty, classified, addy, all that type of stuff. I'm building something totally different than them. Do we have a lot of kind of overlapping similar content in certain areas? Absolutely. But look, I have not been doing this for very long, and I don't have, I'm not putting a ton of resources into it or anything like that, but I've got 20-something thousand readers of my newsletter every week. I've got 40-something thousand Facebook fans, 25,000 Instagram fans. I've got between 65 and 100,000 organic visitors every month. So yeah, I can compete. I've got attention, right? So you just have to get after it. and that's the other thing I would say, John, and for anybody considering kind of a similar model like this, look, if you get after it, you can win in media. Here's why: because it's attention. So if you go out there and create more content and better content and get the attention of the market, you win. It doesn't matter that they've been here for 15 years or 25 years or whatever it is, right? If I'm right now, I suck at TikTok. If I get really good at TikTok here in San Diego, I can steal so much attention from anybody else in the marketplace. There's no two ways about it. TikTok will put my content in front of eyeballs and I will win, but I suck at TikTok. So I just have to get after it. Right? So, based on my question here, Mike, sorry if I missed this somewhere. Any plans to dig into Google local service ads? I don't have any specific plans right now, Randy, but I can absolutely find somebody who can and will. I know High Level has that integration directly with them. The ads are so stinking simple from what I've seen. I'll have to get in there and see like what digging I need to do. So I might have to do a preliminary dig. We'll see here. Contact forms we put on our website have any sort of spam protection? Well, you can put spam protection on them. If you're talking about high level forms, there's nothing specifically built into them, but what you can do is make them multi-step forms, right? So a multi-step form will have, it's harder for it to be like a bot that is spamming it. So that's an option for you. Let's see here. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rock. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. Awesome, J-Town. Awesome. Good. Thank you, Teresa. Awesome. I don't see any other questions, and it's probably good timing because I think my daughter's bus is going to be pulling up here any minute. So I need to go plan on heading over to her school to get her. Thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of the community. Thank you for joining me here on a Friday and spending some time with me. I hope it was valuable for you. And I will see you on a future office hours call. Okay. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Get out there and get after it. And we will see you on a future call. Okay. Oh, hold on here real quick. Oh, couple questions real quick. Matheson says, so do you base advertising prices for their San Diego on a combination of eyeballs on your properties and what competition is charging? Honestly, I have no clue what my competition is charging. I haven't really looked. To be honest, I haven't dug into their pricing in a long time. I base it on eyeballs, and I base it on value proposition, right? So the value proposition of advertising with Air San Diego is beyond just the numbers in terms of eyeballs, right? It's based on the fact that I'm giving you branding, that you don't have to manage any of this yourself. Like I'm creating content that will reflect positively on your business. So there's all kinds of reasons why there's value to my advertising beyond just like if you were going to run an ad on Google and just pay on a CPM basis, or run an ad on Facebook and pay on a CPM basis. So I have a premium. If you look at my cost per thousand, my cost per thousand is going to be way higher than what you would pay if you were managing your own Facebook ads or something like that, right? Because of all of those factors I just listed. Okay. Brock says, I am needing to message clients that I know need or want our services. What would be a good intro message to start the combo? Well, if you're like trying to take that direct of approach, then your message should just be very, very direct, right? So it should be, yeah. So you're pushing the go high level to churches to use as their communication platform. So if you are looking for people that you know need or want their services. Oh wait, hold on. I need a message clients that I know need or want our services. What would be good? Oh, okay. I may have misunderstood. But anyway, if I am direct messaging anybody, whether it's email, phone call, anything like that, okay, the first rule of marketing and selling your services is that you should do your very best to add value, okay? So ideally, you're doing some content marketing that's getting their attention, and then you're messaging them. And in that content marketing, it's got good value to it, right? But let's just say you're like, Mike, I don't have any time for this content marketing stuff. I'm just going to go direct and start messaging people, which I'm cool with that too. I've done a lot of that too. You can still add value in your message. So what's an example? A simple example is just market statistics. So if you can go out and find, I'm sure, Rock, I'm sure, there's some data out there. Like, let me give you an example. Churches, there's got to be some data out there that says, and I don't even know what's the language for somebody who's going to church anyway, but that they would prefer to hear from their church more often, using SMS or using social media messages or whatever, right? So there's got to be some data out there about how people would like to hear from their church. I bet there's, and if you couldn't find that, you could absolutely just come up with data and just kind of package it up where it says, hey, did you know that the people who are parishioners, thank you, Sarah, who are coming to your church, the number one way that they respond to communication now is SMS or email or whatever, right? So depending on who it is that, the parishioners in that church, in certain parts of the country, maybe it's different demographics. You could say, hey, look, in this part of the country and who's coming to your church, they are mostly opening email communication, and we can help you with that. So just by providing some market data like that, market data is actually one of the easiest, most scalable, most efficient way to add value to any campaign, because people love data. And market data has a lot of credibility. And what I mean by market data versus like your own data, right? So if you send me your own data and you say, hey, Mike, we get a 32% open rate on campaigns, there's part of me that the skepticism is actually a little bit higher because it's you saying something about you. It's kind of like, I'm like, you're selling me, right? Versus if you just find some good market data that was published by somebody else and say, hey, did you know that in this Forbes article, they said that, 37% of parishioners would like to hear more often from their church via SMS or social media? That's much, much more trustworthy now. And the great thing is you didn't have to do any work to get that data other than just go find it. Just do some Googling and find the data. So that's how I would do it. And then I would just get right into your value proposition. I would love to have the opportunity to have 15 minutes on the phone with you. It's something very brief like that. So it's low risk to them to have 15 minutes to discuss with you how we can help you reach more of your parishioners more often, get better church attendance, get better donations to the church, things like that. Just be nice and direct. Okay. I am not a believer in any, never, ever, ever, ever try and be deceptive in your approach, sneaky in your approach, anything like that. None of that's good. Especially if you're selling to churches, man, that'll get you in big trouble, right? Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Everybody have a great weekend. Okay. And we will see you on the next office hours call and hopefully in the community on Facebook and Circle between now and then. All right. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.